We're the talk of the town. We're the artists, the actresses, the filmmakers to meet in Venus. Yeah, we're coming through. Shine your light, let your voices be heard. We're spreading love with every single word, from the stage to the screen. We're making our mark. Me and Venus, together we embark.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy today to welcome singer Victoria Contreras, or Victoria V, or Victoria C.
All of the
Uh,
above.
yes, all of the above. Thank Victoria very much for joining the live. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Sharif?
Everything is okay. Everything is okay.
Yeah, good.
I'm very happy to welcome you today. I've been reading a lot and seeing a lot about your past work on your website, on social media, and congrats for the release of the new song.
Oh, thank you
Uh,
very much.
and right now, I want to hear from you about your interest into music and performance. How did it start with you?
Oh, yeah, it's a good question. Um, I was probably about 4 years old and was a bit of an anxious kid. And I used to sing in my bedroom to, I think I didn't actually realize, but it was really like calming and would helps anxiety. It's something I still do if I feel stressed out. I sing. There's a lot of components that are similar to yoga with the breathing and creating sound with the instrument connected to your body. Um, and then my parents wanted to give me opportunities to be able to sing in front of an audience, if because it was something I wanted to do as a career. And so when I got a little bit older, probably like 8 or 9, they started giving me opportunities where I would sing at homeless shelters and retirement communities. And that's when I understood that music wasn't just for me, but it was for other people. And I saw the impact of singing like a nostalgic song could do when I'm at a retirement community and someone's 90 years old and the song is from their childhood, and seeing tears go down their face, or seeing children listen to Christmas songs at a homeless shelter, and just seeing them light up. So that's when I really fell in love with music and knew that it was something that I absolutely needed to have in my life.
Yes, and I think at that age you realized that also music can bring happiness to people missing happiness, or having certain challenges in their, in their lives, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. It's such music is healing.
Yes,
Absolutely. Not the lyrics, the vibrations, the sounds, all of it.
yes, and I think as well, if you are familiar with classic songs, there are really from the American heritage, a lot of songs are eternal. They have eternal life, and people can perform it, either men and women, and they still have the same impact on the new generation.
It's true. There are so many songs that are just timeless, and they can
Yes.
touch your heart at any time in life. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Mhm. Yes, for sure. Tell me, the right now, you started at very young age. You start to face audiences, I imagine, from different culture, age, and around the United States. But tell me, how did you manage and decide to move from like a music fan into a professional singer? What steps did you take?
Hmm. Yeah, well, the first thing that I did is I wanted to be able to sing, like have a big voice, like um Linda Ronstadt, Patsy Cline, Whitney Houston, these big voices. Hart is they're from Seattle. And so um, I I'm not sure if I found, but maybe my parents did, found this voice teacher who is no longer with us, but he lived in Seattle and he taught the Hart sisters and Lane Staley from Alice in Chains and Chris Cornell, a lot of big voices to sing. And so I would do a lot of chores to earn the money to be able to take voice lessons because it's really, I mean, it's a muscle, right? And you have to, you can practice, but there's a technique to it. And so I wanted to understand kind of the mechanism behind how they create that big sound. So that was the first step. And then for me, a couple of interesting opportunities arose where I auditioned for like a local musical. It was The Sound of Music and was cast and didn't have any acting experience, just had some singing experience. I was 10 years old. And um, it was a really magical opportunity and it led to a lot more musical theater. Which is a great place to start in a lot of ways because it gives you the opportunity to speak in front of an audience. Although you have a script, it's still that opportunity to use your voice and your acting as well as singing and learn to communicate a song and be in character. So that was something that I continued to do until I was about 18 years old. And then when I was 12, I had this mentor. I used to hang out at his uh, music store, and I would just hang out there and play the instruments. And he took me under his wing, and he introduced me to Billie Holiday and Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald and all the songs from the American Songbook. And and then as I learned them, he gave me an opportunity to sing with his 25-piece jazz band, which was all adults. So I'm this 12-year-old singing these like beautiful American songbook songs, these jazz tunes. And that was just another really incredible moment of my life that was very pivotal, very pivotal. And I think I have a funny story. The director, who was not my mentor, it was the conductor, was another gentleman, and he was like, "You're 12 years old. There's no way that you can understand what these lyrics mean." So he made me speak the lyrics while this 25-piece jazz orchestra is playing. I spoke the lyrics for like 4 weeks in a row, 4 Mondays in a row, until he felt like I understood what the lyrics meant. And when I look back on it, it's kind of hilarious, but it was a really good, it was humbling, but it was a good opportunity to really think about phrasing because, when you're singing a song, you're telling a story. And so your phrasing is extremely important. So those were two kind of kismet opportunities that only came about because I put my neck out there. So I would say for anyone that's pursuing music, it's just like anybody that's successful in sports, anybody that's successful in business and entrepreneurship. Same with music. You have to take risks. You have to get out there. You have to not be afraid to look dumb. You have to, I mean, you don't get good by singing in your bedroom. You have to get out and get feedback from an audience and feel comfortable in front of an audience. And so I would just, yeah, advise anybody out there that's wanting to do this, just go do it. Just do the thing. Don't think about it. Just do it. Don't take yourself too seriously.
Yes, I imagine every singer during his or her beginnings, you for sure face a rude audience members, like get out of here, what, and, I don't know, throwing tomatoes, I don't know.
Yeah, it's scary. It's intimidating, It's very intimidating,
Mhm. Yes,
without a
but
doubt.
with this band, where did you go to sing? You were a very young lady and
Yeah.
25 professionals. What was the venue for this band?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it was a college band. So
Mhm.
they were all ages, like probably up to their 50s, really, because they all just loved. It was called the Highline Jazz Band. So we would play at the college. We would do big shows there, but we also played at this place that's no longer around, but it's called the Northwest Brewing Company. So it was a brewery. So I had to wear like a sticker that said, "I'm not 21." And it's like, well, obviously you're a kid, but liquor laws in America are funny. And so I would have to wear that while I was singing or on the premises. But yeah, I mean, it was incredible experience.
And growing up, did you study music or did you decide to study something else?
Yeah, I studied business and music in college.
Really? Mhm.
Yeah, and I liked music theory. I always enjoyed it. I like I mean, there's a lot of math in music, and I like some aspects of math. So yeah, I enjoyed music theory, and sight singing. I don't do that as well as I used to be able to, where you get a sheet of music and you can sing it in tempo and
Mhm.
once you hit the first note. But yeah, so I don't think that music training, formal training and music theory is an integral part of your path if you depending on what kind of music you're wanting to do. If you want to play or sing classically, then absolutely you have to know the fundamentals. But if you want to sing rock and roll or pop, you can learn the basics with chords and how to chart a song and things like that without music theory. It's helpful to have it, but I don't think it's critical.
For sure, but as long as as you enjoy it, for instance, I love reading about history of cinema all the time. Although I see
Mm.
contemporary films, but all the time fascinates with me the beginning of cinema and the industry in America and in Europe, and the rise of movies from silent era, to the talkies. Everything this era is fascinating for me as well, and I think studying as well give you some, I mean, background and polish your talent as well. If you have a very good voice and you past uh, getting worried about the audience and stuff like that. But I've seen you collaborated with many songwriters and lyrics and musicians. Example, Randy Jackson. So tell me, how this collaboration started and help you as well to shape your career.
Yeah. So I was part of a organized girls group. There were four of us. We had choreography. It was like pop R&B, and I had moved to Los Angeles for another project, and then this audition for this project came up, and so um, it was incredible time. It was really fun. We had two managers and we had choreographers and costumes, and we did a lot of shows at like clubs around LA. And we were working with Randy Jackson. He worked for a record label at the time, and he was, I think, skeptical of who we were because we all had such different backgrounds in terms of music. A couple of the gals came from like gospel choirs, and then it was my sister and I, and the other two gals, and then my sister and I had this more like jazz pop kind of background, musical theater as well. And so Brandy was like, I'm confused about who you are. Are you R&B? Are you pop? What are you? And so we were singing other people's songs. And so like original songs, but were written completely by other people. And so he partnered us up with some producers who created tracks that were like A, B sections. Like they were structured songs. Sometimes they would have a bridge. And so they'd have the chords and the production, the tempo, the drums, the basic arrangement. And then he challenged us to write vocals, melodies, and lyrics to those tracks, which nowadays they call it top lining. And it's like rappers that have a section of their song that has a vocal, they'll bring a singer in and she'll top line. That was basically what we were doing, was top lining. And it was at that moment when the four of us gals got together to share our initial ideas. We came up with ideas on our own, and we came together and shared our ideas for lyrics and vocal melodies. It was that moment in that process that I was like, wow, I love to write music just as much as I like to sing. And so I've only seen Randy once since that time that we were working with him a lot, and was able to tell him, it was at a songwriting summit, and was able to just say like, hey, you're the reason that I write music. If you hadn't pushed us to go through that exercise, I probably would never have even known that that was something that I was passionate about. So it was a pretty cool experience.
Yes, but since you studied business, Victoria,
Mhm.
I always think about this from I put myself in the shoes of singers like yourself on how they promote themselves. I mean, business wise. I mean, the industry has been changing a lot. Myself, I grew up when I used to buy cassettes with my
Yeah,
uncle,
yeah, right.
then CDs, then the download age came with the internet. Used to exchange music with my friends with on a flash drive, you know.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, and I
or mix
used to do
make mixtapes.
yes,
Yeah.
compilations all together when we were
Cool.
in school and university. And then right now it's all about social media, the internet, sites like Spotify and YouTube and maybe others as well. Tell me a little bit, how did you manage to, uh, I mean, to change with the changing uh, of the music industry, and how do you promote yourself as well? I mean, from point of view arts and business as well.
Yeah, well, like you said, it certainly has changed. And when I was working with Randy, that was a time where everyone was just trying to get a record deal. And once you had a record deal, then the odds that you might will succeed were much greater than if you didn't have a record deal. But nowadays, like they don't even have really A&R people at all the labels. And like you said, things have really changed. And there are YouTube stars and TikTok stars that are filling out, theaters and arenas, filling them up, and it's amazing. So I think that it presents its own challenges. And it there's less red tape in a way, but there are a lot more challenges. So um, I think I post relevant information 4 or 5 times a week on both TikTok and on Instagram and Facebook. I think that it's important to bring your fans inside the process. So, really breaking down what the song means to you, how you wrote it, why you wrote it, taking them into the studio, taking them behind the scenes in a music video, those sorts of things that give them that sneak peek into the process and a little bit of who you are. It is also important to show who you are too, and to just be really authentic, because authenticity really shines through. And I think it's something that we're really hungry for right now. Um, and it's interesting because there used to be kind of a formula to quote unquote make it, and there isn't now. And so it's kind of an exciting time. But yeah, so I try to get creative with my posts. The other thing I would definitely recommend to anyone that's aspiring in this space is to build up your email list. I mean, and a lot of times we feel like email is like this thing that we you know don't want to do, or we don't think is like hip and savvy and nowadays. But the fact of the matter is, if you have a big YouTube following, you have a big TikTok following, you have a big Instagram following, your following is owned by those institutions. So if TikTok's no more, there goes your fan base. So you really need to be building up your fan base and having direct contact with them. And, you know, so yeah, that's one piece of advice. And that's something that I definitely have been working on. And then just getting out there and playing in your local city, and maybe doing a small tour is great. Just connecting face to face with your fans is really important. And collaborations, collaborating with other artists, doing, songs together where you're getting both of your audiences and bringing them together is really powerful as well. And don't think about people that maybe are doing something similar to you as competition, because there are billions of people in this world, and musicians should be collaborating. There's nobody's your direct competition. So work together. If there's somebody you think is amazing and is doing something similar to what you're doing, but better or differently, then collaborate with them. There's
Yes.
always power in working together.
That's very good. You spoke about mailing list and collecting leads. This is business wise and marketing wise. And I work as well in email marketing and digital
Oh,
marketing.
you do? Oh, very cool.
And everybody tell you, the money is in the list. you
It,
know.
it, it is, that. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
because
Right.
I faced maybe 2 years ago. I think somebody hacked one of my channels here on YouTube. And while I was sleeping, he did like a live about digital currency. And I don't do anything about that. So after the live, YouTube blocked the channel, shut down the
Oh,
channel.
no.
Yeah, yeah. And I tried to reach out to them and successfully, because the proof that it's not the theme of my channel, and I went back my channel, but it was a disastrous thing, the disastrous thing, because it was the main channel. I mean, they blocked everything connected to it. So I have
Gee.
other channels, and this can happen to your YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook at any time,
Hmm.
because you are
Hmm.
using the platform of other people, you know.
Yeah,
Yes, but
absolutely.
I was very happy that I discovered your work through a press release, and
Thank
I
you.
think it is a very effective way until now. It's a little bit old-fashioned, but I think you can reach, serious websites and media and readers through press release, and I think as well it can generate some leads and generates some can I say, um, I mean,
Opportunities like this,
new.
right?
Let me
Oh,
ask you about
I should,
something.
oh,
Can you hear
okay.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
I want to know about your new song, "Done Playing Small." What can you tell it?
Mhm.
What can you tell us about it? Can you hear?
I can hear you. Kind of keep
Hello?
cutting out, but I can hear you. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah. Or, yes. I
Yeah. Oh, can you hear me?
yes. I was yes, yes.
I can hear you.
Hello?
I can
Very
hear
good.
you.
Yes, it was cut a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
I was about done playing small. What can you tell us about the premise of the song, and what drove you to its lyrics, and what message you try to convey throughout this new song?
Yeah. So Done Plain Small is a song I wrote when I was really working on some of the themes that I was telling myself, the stories that I was telling myself, that weren't true. A lot of things from my past, that things people had said to me, things that I was starting to adopt as my own thoughts, and they were really creating a lot of limiting beliefs. And so, um, I love working with a therapist. I always have worked with a therapist throughout my whole life, and it's been really helpful. So I was working with my therapist on really trying to combat this this story that was not true, that was holding me back. And at the same time, I read this really amazing book called Worthy by Jamie Kern Lima, who's this amazing entrepreneur and just very inspirational. And I wrote down the words "done playing small" on my piano, and I was like, I'm going to write this, but I just don't, I got to wait. So it just kind of sat there on my piano. And then I finally sat down and wrote it, and it came out pretty quickly, which is pretty unusual. And it's always feels like a gift when something like that happens, where the lyrics and the melodies and the chords all come together quickly. But um, so I feel really proud of about this song. I definitely feel like this song is about taking back your power. It's about no longer dimming your light, no longer playing small. It's also a reminder that it's never too late to recreate yourself and write a new story of who you are. You know, life brings us so many challenges, and we are totally not in control of the things that happen to us and the instances that occur, but we are in control of how we respond to those. And so this song is about getting back into the driver's seat of your life. um, and it's for the person out there who just has a knowing that there is more. Um, and maybe you had big dreams when you were younger, and those got pushed down as life gave you setbacks. But you still have those hopes and dreams inside of you, and they're stuck there for a reason. You're not holding on to them for fun, they're meant to do them. And so I just hope that this song inspires you to get out of your own way, to stop playing small, and to create a new story of who you are, and stop being guided by limiting beliefs that can cause fear and doubt.
Yes, great. And Victoria, tell me, did you consider venturing into acting at some point of your career? Because I've seen you collaborated with many singers, actor who venture into acting as well.
Um, I mean, I did a lot of musical theater and some act. Yeah, I did some acting when I lived in LA.
Mhm.
I haven't really given it much thought lately, but I'm open to anything, whatever the universe brings.
Uh, right now, I see you are based in Seattle right now, correct?
I am in Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah. What can you tell me about, according to you, of course, about the music scene right now? And do you try to promote your music there, or you try as well to to promote your music as well nationwide?
Yeah, I'm definitely take a broader approach. Although it's, a great opportunity to build an audience in the state or city that you're from, which I have been doing for years. I am trying to do a little bit more of a global approach and reach people not just for the United States, but globally. Um, and the Seattle scene it's it's strong. I think that the Seattle music scene, like, of course, in the 90s was huge, but I feel like it's very strong again right now. I There are particularly a lot of really incredible female artists out there, like soul, R&B, folk, a lot of big unusual voices, great songwriting, great lyrics happening. Um, and I think that, it's a really supportive industry. You always go to shows and see other artists out supporting other artists. I would say on the negative side, Seattle is one of the most expensive cities to live in the country, and so that it makes it really difficult for a musician who doesn't have necessarily a stable income every month, coming in to survive, or be able to live in the city. So we're definitely seeing a lot of people moving to other states, and even like a little farther east, in Washington, where it's a little bit more affordable. But there are talks of artist housing in Seattle, and I think that would be huge. It would be so helpful to have some support from our city and our the King County and Washington State to make sure that art stays here. We are very known for music, and it's an important aspect of our region.
And I think that's why they made the movie Sleepless in Seattle, because it's so expensive.
Perhaps, yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of great movies filmed here.
Yes, yes. It's one of the reasons, maybe, but it's one of the favorite romantic films ever made as well.
Oh,
Uh,
you love it? Yeah, it's a good one.
yes, yes. One of the best was Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. But I want to ask you, since we are approaching the end of the year,
Yeah.
do you have certain aims or aspiration for the upcoming period for yourself as an artist?
Yeah, I do. I have a few new songs that are in production right now, that I'll release at the first of the year. So I'm excited to release those new songs. I'm going to be doing singles, releasing singles, probably not an album this coming year. Um, I have a show that I'm directing and producing alongside a good friend of mine who's the music director, and it's dedicated, or it's in tribute to Linda Ronstadt, and so it's telling her story and showcasing her brightest hits, and that's November 16th at the Triple Door, and there'll be two of those shows. The first one sold out, so we added a second. So I can see that show, us performing that show quite a bit more, in maybe touring it in 2025. And then the other thing that's really on my radar is music licensing for sync. And so I've really been concentrating on, I know I love that you're a movie buff, but listening to the music that you hear in film and TV and in our favorite series. And sometimes I'll watch a scene and I'll hear this amazing music and I'll come up to my studio and write something that, what would I write in that scene? What would I write for that mood? It's a great exercise to just kind of sharpen that skill, because that's, while there isn't money in selling albums necessarily anymore, because we get so much less money from streams than we did
True.
record sales. There's
Yeah,
quite significant money in sync, and it's really fun. It's just a really fun space to write for.
great. Victoria, I want to thank you very much for joining the live
Thank you,
today.
Sheree. I appreciate
And
it.
you're welcome. Wish you all the best in the upcoming
Thank you.
releases. And I look forward to receive you again. If you have a new song, feel free to come and speak about it next time.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Sharif. I appreciate it.
Have a
Take care.
lovely afternoon. Take care. Thank you. Bye
You
bye.
too.